Recently, the Zimbabwe Republic Police raised alarm over cases of alcohol in schools after a female learner was sexually abused after she was given alcohol by another learner in Waterfalls. This also came after the police in Bulawayo busted a group of learners engaging in a vuzu party with alcohol and condoms being taken by the police. This morning, we are joined by National Marwa from the High Schools Debate Challenge, who together with his team has been engaging in awareness campaigns against vices affecting children through the High Schools Debate Challenges. National Marwa, hello and welcome to Morning Rush.
Okay, thank you. How are you, Ibe?
Can't complain, you don't get better. Now, to cut to the chase, let's talk about, the rise in some of the misbehavior that we are witnessing in the schools.
Okay, these issues are mainly concerned because of the background of these children. So the social institutions that are supposed to protect these children have neglected their roles. For example, we have families who are now chasing money and neglecting the behavior of the children. Now they leave this in the hands of the schools. So what then do we do as High Schools Debate Challenge? We need to listen to the children, and then how do we do so? We have to organize poetry competitions where we give them topics that have to do with child rights and also abuse of drugs and the negativity of those things. So when you hear the children speaking on issues of drugs and what they have to say about what they experience when they use drugs, and then we can then engage various stakeholders who can then come in and say, if these things are to be used, these are the consequences. If you behave in a certain manner, these are the consequences. That's what we are doing to try and address all those things.
Right. I would have an appreciation for how debate and public speaking actually runs. In fact, I'm a product of public speaking and debate, having participated during my high school years back in the day at Kutama College. Now, let's talk about the reach and the spread of this debate system across the country and how you are using that to actually impact the lives of these youngsters.
Right. Debate is something that is interesting because it encourages critical thinking, fast and critical thinking. Now, when you give topics to children, we normally start at district level so that we leave no one behind. From schools that are in rural areas and schools that are in urban areas, we do debates at district level. Then we give them topics that have to do with drugs, early child marriages, and the role of religion also in curbing these things. Right? They debate these topics. You hear to children expressing themselves through those arguments. Then we move on to provincial competitions, where these children also, those who would have qualified from the district level, will then proceed to the provincials. Those who would have qualified from provincials will then come to our level nationals. So this will give them a platform where they have to speak their mind on various issues that affect them in the presence of various stakeholders. We invite parents to watch these debates. We invite popular figures. Recently, we had Tinashe Mugabe and DJ Ola7 that attended the event we had in Madogero here for the national competitions. So we invite popular figures that will also have to post these events on their platforms so that the voices of the children will be heard by various stakeholders, including the police.
Right. It seems as though that the extent of mischief in these youngsters seems to have graduated. What we called mischief back in the day, in the yesteryears, is actually now very much different. It seems as though mischief and misbehavior has been redefined. Back in the day when people misbehaved, or when pupils misbehaved, would call upon the teachers and the headmasters and mistresses to attend to some of the cases there. But it seems now we are calling upon the police. In your investigations, as you engaged with these youngsters, what has brought us to this very point?
No, what I believe has brought us to this point is the issue of modernity and social media. Our culture is no longer as it was back then. So if we are to use the same cultural means we used back then, they will not apply because of the changes in culture. We all agree that culture is dynamic. So the cultural changes and the infiltration of modernity has led us to where we are, where we say teachers, now you see the corporal punishment in schools, in other schools, have been banned. Now it becomes a crime for a teacher to just beat a child without justification. So it has get to a level where a teacher is no longer effective in implementing discipline in schools, which is where we then want some law enforcement agencies to assist, especially in schools where some certain children are disrespecting the authority of teachers.
Now, National, what then is the antidote, the panacea to this growing challenge that we've got in Zimbabwe?
I honestly think, after listening to these children debating, because this is an African crisis, not a Zimbabwean crisis, after listening to these children speaking, I think we need to have social institutions which are functional, which also listen to the children speaking. Take, for example, the family. At the family level, parents have neglected their roles in curbing this behavior. So they leave it in the hands of the school, which is also complaining of an overload. The church has also been silent as to these behaviors. Most religious institutions have taken a passive approach in as far as the behavior of drugs, early child marriages, and the others are concerned. So I honestly think these social institutions should be conscientized on the fact that the children are the future of the nation. So they need to invest their time in curbing the behavior of the children before we even reach the police level, where we need to include the law enforcement agencies. So the family should be active, the church should be active, the school institution should also be active in trying to curb this behavior.
Now, of course, that insight coming through, of course, from National. Now, we want to hear what are your thoughts in terms of how to address the challenges that are in Zimbabwe. We're seeing an increase in terms of the extent of drug abuse. We're seeing these sex parties that have become a nationwide phenomena. And so how do we address these issues? Let us know your thoughts, your views, your comments at Zim Papers TV Network, as well as at ZTN Prime on our social media handles. Now, National, what are some of the programs and initiatives that you have got in the pipeline?
Right, we have some awareness campaigns we run nationwide. Of late, we are going to have an awareness campaign at Prince Edward High School here in Harare on the 27th of November. We are also going to have an awareness campaign at the continental level in Kenya, at the Lady Renata International School in Kenya. So we're going to have those things that encompasses poetry, debate, public speaking, with children speaking their mind out in terms of drugs. Why do they take drugs, and what should be done for them to minimize the consumption of drugs? What should also be done to avoid child marriages with children that are dying while giving birth? So we need to listen to them, then we need to address issues with what they think in mind. Because normally we don't make a law without listening to what the children think the law enforcement agencies should do to try and address those things. So we need to listen to them first and then react to what they would have said.
Now, as we wrap up our conversation, National, may you speak to the pupils that are watching this program right now and just throw in some tidbits in terms of what you feel they need to do as they navigate their course. Take it away.
Okay, so those children that are experiencing abuse, or that have a child or a friend that is being abused, we have various platforms where their minds can express their mind. They should also take advantage of local institutions which also protect them. Then they also have to express their discontentment of the situation that they are going through in terms of drugs, in terms of early child marriages, in terms of child rights, or anything that is to do with abuse. So speaking is the antidote to the depression that children might go through in their lives. So they have to speak out. They shouldn't keep quiet. They have to speak out.
Now, of course, National Marwa from the High Schools Debate Challenge. National, thank you for joining us on Morning Rush.